Good afternoon, my name is Tiffany Ficklin, and this is just a little story about my business. And the point that I'm going to leave you with, I hope, is twofold. Number one is to leave nothing uncelebrated, to make sure that you're marking each milestone on the step of your journey. And two, to be all in with your business. When you go, I need you to jump in feet first, ready to rock. All right, so if you've been to 1 Million Cups, you may have seen a little bit of this before, but I hope it's still interesting. This is the first check I ever got. I was in first grade, it was for 10 cents, and this is when I learned that I really love money and I wanted to make more of it. So I started my own babysitting company when I was about 10 or 11, out of Girl Scouts, got my first, my Red Cross First Aid training, and got my business cards printed, and this is where I truly learned the power of referrals. I also learned at that time I was pretty amazing at throwing parties. As evidenced right there, that's me throwing my 10th Miss Cabbage Patch birthday party. So everyone gets their start somewhere, so I'll give you a little synopsis of mine. I was really fortunate in the fact that event planning was a passion. I didn't know it was a real job, but I knew it was something I loved to do. So I was able, immediately out of college, right upon getting married, the Albuquerque Biological Park hired me in 1997 for their grand opening to run their wedding and events program. It was there that I created programs like the River of Lights, the Garden Concert Music Series. I learned a lot about PR, and I also learned that I wasn't super crazy about weddings, although I was really good at them. After being a little burned out by the event scene, I thought I'd give my hand at retail. This is where I learned impeccable customer service, scheduling, bookkeeping, managing, and also the art of display and decor. I competed in a lot of national window dressing competitions, and it was when Cottonwood Mall opened. So it was the first year, and it was a high-level store at that time. But then, too, if you've ever worked retail, you know how intense that is. And I was newly married and ready to start a family, so I started to work at Cottonwood School. This was a great little school in Corrales. Kids age 2 to 5th grade, and it was there that I was able to kind of relax and bring some of my strengths to the surface. I was I was able to really help the school make a profound impact on their donation, their giving, their fundraising, additional to their PR. So again, it came through events and event planning. I started my family there, and this is when I came up for an idea where we needed to bring outside people to donate inside to Cottonwood. So I started the Cottonwood Kickball Classic, which is a co-ed adult kickball tournament. It's there that I got the, that was my first best thing. So she came along first. Then I started kickball. And what happened is Waka Kickball was started in Washington, D.C. the year before I started the Cottonwood Kickball Classic. At the time, I didn't know it was 4 guys in their basement building a .com. But they got wind of my tournament. It was the largest in the country, and they offered me a job. And the company was so new that I actually had to earn my own salary. I was employee number 3 at the time, or maybe 4 or 5. I was around there because there was 3 founders. But we were at about $300,000 a year. When I left 6 years later, I had a staff of almost 200 beneath me. I was their national spokesperson, and we were a $9 million company. So talk about explosive growth. This is where I really learned how to work virtually, the power of a home office, home-life balance, which didn't always work for me because I started to get that face whenever I hit the road again for my second daughter. So it was definitely time for a change. I really needed to grow above and beyond that, and that's where, what do I do next? I wasn't sure. So it was at this moment that my life was about to change. I started contracting my event services to other countries, and I was assigned a National Air Force conference, the Team Aerospace Operational Solution in Nashville, Tennessee. And it was for about 3,000 soldiers. I had worked on other military events before, but this was the first time I had the chance to be the lead and beginning to end plan the conference. I was able to choose my own team. It took about 8 months of full-time planning, but that was where I truly learned what my strengths were. But the best part of this story is that I was also recognized by a military coin. The colonel called me up in front of the whole assembly and gave me an Air Force coin, which is usually a symbol and a ceremony recognized only for military and not for civilians. And it was the Air Force's way of thanking me for a job well done, which was super humbling and still one of the highlights of my life. And it was during that weekend that people started telling me, you are such a badass. You throw the most badass events. And it was right about 15 minutes after this picture was taken that I came up with the name for my company, which today is bravo.alpha.EVENTS. So now you know the secret. That first year in business was terrifying. I was newly divorced. I was a single mom. I had cashed out my entire retirement to start this company, and I hustled my ass off. I went all over the country. I worked charity. This is also where I learned this fine balance between giving and pricing yourself appropriately and not going broke. So I did American Lung Association Maine. I did breast cancer awareness. I did nonprofit with Duke City Sleep Out. I did the 2030 National Convention. I also started scoring some international jobs, which was really cool. I was traveling the world doing what I love to do. So this is where the tipping point comes for causing growth in your company, and I can really sum it up because you can see where I started in 2010. Who's going to live off of that? And I wasn't. I was working 4 jobs at a time for a long time until 2014, which is the first year I went full-time on my company. So in between 2010 and 2014, I worked as a fitness and nutrition coach during the day. I still consulted for Cottonwood School at night. I took any event client that I possibly could and did any other assistant job that I could get my hands on. The power of referral. Some of my best clients today have still come from referrals, and it's the most valuable thing to me. When you're a small business owner and you are caring genuinely for your customers and you're providing above and beyond service, they will tell people. And those people will come knock on your doors and they will pay your billing price because they know the value of your service. I formed key partnerships, many of them with some of the women in this room. I learned how to network in the community, how I could expand my growth, and how I could give back to the community through those partnerships. I ended up adding decor services at the very end of 2013. I had the opportunity to buy one of my competitors out. And the day before the buy-sell agreement, he bailed. He pulled out. And I was devastated. I had sunk so much time and personal money into attorneys, into CPA, into tax researching, into business planning, forecasting, meeting new clients, and it was gone in an instant. But what happened is, it pushed me to do it on my own. And so now, I have my own decor company. I have brand new inventory. I own everything. I am in debt to no one but myself. And I tripled my business by adding decor. I raised my prices. I found the value of my services. I did my research for New Mexico and the surrounding area, and I knew what I was worth. And so, sure, there will be brides that have a very small budget and they can't afford me. And they'd love to afford me, but they can't, but they're also not my ideal client. I can serve weddings, I can serve corporate, I can serve private. I've gone to New York to do a 50th surprise birthday party. I've done corporate meetings, I've done galas, I've done fundraisers, but these people are also able to pay me what I'm worth. I started saying no. I get asked every day, all the time, to donate, and that's a really hard thing to learn how to do, especially when I'm a native. I care about my city, I care about people, I have causes very close to my heart, and I've had to learn what my capacity for giving is. And so there are opportunities that will come along, and if they don't feel instinctively right and a good fit and you can instantly see the benefit to your business, it's okay to say no, because I promise you the door will open where it's a yes. It does every time. I went brand new when I started in 2014. In fact, I don't know, Kat Hannah is still here. She's awesome. She's here, and you need to meet her. And in fact, she's gifting some of her services to our scholarship winners tonight. But I had new branding, a new logo, a new website, and a new tagline that really reflected my business. My original design was very military and very corporate, and it didn't reflect me as a person. And I found that I'm my very own best brand, and so now I have a brand that really reflects that. Social media. The power of social media is outstanding, and outside of referrals, this is my second biggest way to get my name out about my company without spending a dime. When you learn the voice of who you are and the message you're selling and the message you're representing, it's easy to share your story and share that voice on social media. And find the social media platform that works for you. LinkedIn is a great business-to-business site. I'm not going to find customers, but I found awesome referrals on that site. Twitter is a lot of fun. I get retweeted, and it's fun to be on Twitter, but most of my clients are actually on Pinterest, because I have a highly visual service. So a lot of my clients I find on Pinterest and Facebook. Personal investment. I had to go all in. I had to take that really terrifying and scary leap of cashing out retirement, cashing out my savings, being a mom to 2 girls, and really biting the bullet and trusting and believing in myself that this business would work. And it truly wasn't until that moment that that's when I started to grow. And believe me, through 2010 to 2013, my parents, my ex-husband, my former business partners, my coworkers were all telling me to stop. Put it on the back burner, revisit it, come back to it later. You're really good at this, but right now, you just need to pay your bills. You just need to have insurance. And I don't want you to get the impression that I was an irresponsible mom, because I wasn't. I always put my kids first, they always ate, we always had insurance. But it was killing me, right, to do. And it's terrifying, painful and scary, and sleepless nights to jump in, all in. But when you are willing to commit, you will leave nothing uncelebrated. That's the kind of growth you're going to see. So one of my first big breakout events for 2013, before I went big time, was I made a relationship with the Stage at the Star at Santa Ana Casino. And I started producing their Halloween events. And it was a great moment for me. I take my family to see the billboard. I show them my logo. That's my old branding. And my daughter says to me, "Mom, why are there sluts on your billboard?" Yeah, that was a good moment. Good moment. But that's okay, because we kept going. They hired me again to do their first New Year's Eve party, and I sold it out. And guess what? I sold it out again. I did it for 2 years in a row, which led me to open my own brick and mortar office last spring. And before then, I had great experience as a virtual worker. And there's a lot to be said in that. You will save a lot of money and a lot of overhead having the capability to work from home, work from satellite, work in a co-working space where you can log in and get your work done. But for my specific job and industry, my credibility changed 200% when they could go in and see a representation of my work and my style. So it's been a good year for me. I earned 40 under 40 from Albuquerque Business Weekly, flanked by my ladies. I landed Hewlett-Packard as a client. I got some wonderful and amazing press from the Albuquerque Journal. Carolyn Flynn is a really gracious supporter of women in business and did a great article on me. I did the Rock and Brews account and it did their grand opening party where I partied with the guys, and that was a really exciting kudo to have my work represented on a large scale. And then last but not least, I sold out the Stage again. So it's been a really powerful year, but I owe it to going all in and really celebrating the steps that brought me to where I am today. So for the future, this was something we kind of covered on the panel, but I really see the need to grow into a bigger office. I need a bigger office space where I can hold my future staff, where I can still have a showroom, but where I have warehouse space attached to it to keep my growing inventory. I would love to do more TV spots. I'm very comfortable on media. I love talking about events, and I want to become that event professional. I love public speaking, probably because I like to hear myself talk. But I feel very passionate about business and women in business and growth and learning and becoming a better version of yourself. So if you leave with something that I've said today, it will have been totally worth it. I know that there is a book in me, and I hope to take the purpose of leaving nothing uncelebrated in your life and helping people incorporate that into their lifestyle through business and personal. Finally, I know that I am a national brand. I know that I am and will be the next Martha Stewart, the next Colin Cowie, the next Preston Bailey, because the work I do is beautiful and valuable. And what gives me an edge, and what I know my clients feel, is that I leave an indelible imprint on every event I do. People remember them. It leaves an everlasting memory, whether it's a wedding, a conference, a meeting, a milestone birthday, where they feel loved and attended to, and I'm able to put that personal stamp for my client on that experience. This is my company. I hope that as you go forward in your life and in your business, you learn to leave nothing uncelebrated. Thank you very much.